When Elon Musk's luxury yacht Starship Seas disappeared in perfect weather off the coast of Monaco, the world was shocked. But when the yacht's security cameras revealed his final moments, standing calmly on the flooding bridge, speaking directly to the camera with words that would haunt humanity, shock turned to terror. "Tell my children. The truth about Mars was always..." Then, silence. Static. Gone. What truth was the world's most powerful man desperate to reveal in his final breath? And why did his last words sound less like a goodbye and more like a warning? The video that changed everything was exactly 43 seconds long. Sarah Chen had been reading the news for CNN for 12 years. She had reported on wars, disasters, and the deaths of world leaders. But nothing had prepared her for this moment. Her hands shook as she looked at the teleprompter. The words seemed impossible. "Good evening. I'm Sarah Chen, and we begin tonight with breaking news from the Mediterranean Sea. Billionaire Elon Musk is missing and presumed dead after his luxury yacht sank off the coast of Monaco this afternoon." The video played on screens around the world. Security cameras on board the yacht Starship Seas had captured the final moments before the ship went down. The footage was grainy, but clear enough to see everything. Elon Musk stood on the bridge of his yacht. Water crashed through broken windows behind him. The richest man in the world looked directly into the camera. His face was calm, but his eyes showed fear. He spoke slowly, as if he knew these might be his last words. "Tell my children, the truth about Mars was always..." Then the screen went black. Static filled the air where his voice had been. The transmission was gone. The yacht was gone. Elon Musk was gone. Captain Maria Santos had been with the French Coast Guard for 20 years. She had led rescue missions in storms that could sink battleships. She had pulled survivors from waters cold enough to kill in minutes. But she had never seen anything like this. "How long since the last signal?" she asked her radio operator. 17 minutes, Captain," came the reply. The yacht's emergency beacon went silent at 3. Santos stared at the map on her command center wall. Red X marks showed where other ships had hard. Helicopters buzzed overhead like angry wasps. The Mediterranean was calm today. Perfect weather for a rescue. So where was the wreckage? "Captain Santos." Her communications officer ran over with a tablet in his hands. "You need to see this. It's the security footage from the yacht. Someone leaked it to the news networks." Santos watched the video 3 times. Each time she noticed something new. Musk's clothes were dry even though water was flooding the bridge. The emergency lights were still working, which meant the yacht still had power. And strangest of all, she could see the Monaco coastline through one of the windows. The yacht was close to shore when this was filmed. Too close to disappear without a trace. "Get me a direct line to Monaco Harbor Control," Santos ordered. "I want to know exactly where that yacht was when they lost contact." 3,000 miles away in Houston, Dr. James Fletcher couldn't stop watching the news. He had known Elon Musk for 15 years. They had worked together at NASA before Musk started SpaceX. They had dinner together just 3 nights ago. Fletcher remembered that dinner clearly now. Musk had seemed different. Excited about something, but also worried. They had eaten at Musk's favorite restaurant, a small Italian place where the owner knew to seat them in the back corner for privacy. "James," Musk had said over his pasta, "if something happens to me, I need you to promise me something." Fletcher had laughed. "Nothing's gonna happen to you, Elon. You're gonna live further and colonize Mars, remember?" But Musk wasn't smiling. "I'm serious. If something happens, make sure they look at the Mars data. All of it. Not just what we release to the public." "What are you talking about?" Musk had looked around the restaurant, as if checking to see who might be listening. "We've been getting signals, James. From Mars. Not random signals. Messages." Fletcher had thought his friend was joking. Now watching the news coverage of the yacht disaster, he wasn't so sure. His phone rang. The caller ID showed a number he didn't recognize. "Dr. Fletcher? This is Marcus Thompson, Mr. Musk's personal assistant. Have you seen the news?" "Yes. I can't believe it. Is there any word from the rescue teams? That's why I'm calling. Before Mr. Musk left for Monaco, he gave me specific instructions. If anything happened to him, I was supposed to contact certain people. You're on that list." Fletcher felt a chill run down his spine. What kind of instructions? He left files for you, Dr. Fletcher. Encrypted files on a secure server. The password is Mars Truth 2025. He said you would understand what to do with them. The line went dead. In Monaco, Harbor Master Pierre Dubois was having the worst day of his career. The Starship Seas had been docked at the Port Hercules Marina for 3 days. It was the largest yacht ever to visit Monaco, and Dubois had personally supervised its arrival. Now it was gone, and he had no idea how. "Show me the harbor cameras again," he told his security chief. The footage showed the yacht leaving port at 11:30 a.m. Everything looked normal. The crew was professional. The weather was perfect. The yacht's captain, Henrik Larsson, had filed a proper sailing plan. They were going to cruise the Mediterranean for the day and return by evening. But something bothered Dubois about the departure video. He watched it again, focusing on the people on deck. There was Elon Musk, easily recognizable even from a distance. There was Captain Larsson on the bridge. There were the crew members going about their duties. And there was someone else, a figure in dark clothes, standing near the yacht's stern. Someone who wasn't supposed to be there. Someone who wasn't on the passenger manifest. Dubois zoomed in on the image, but the figure was too far away to see clearly. All he could tell was that it was a woman carrying what looked like a silver briefcase. "Run the passenger list again," he told his assistant. "I want to know who that woman is." The video of Musk's final words played on every news channel in the world. Social media exploded with theories and questions. Musk's last words became the top trending topic on Twitter. What was the truth about Mars that he wanted to tell his children? Why had the yacht's security system kept recording even as the ship was sinking? And why had no one found any wreckage in the 12 hours since the yacht disappeared? Sarah Chen ended her newscast with a question that would haunt viewers around the globe. Elon Musk's final words suggested he had a secret about Mars that the world needed to know. Tonight, as rescue teams continue their search in the Mediterranean, we're left wondering, what was he trying to tell us? And who was he trying to warn? As millions of people went to sleep that night, they didn't know they had just witnessed the opening moments of a mystery that would shake the foundations of everything humanity believed about their place in the universe. The yacht was gone. Elon Musk was gone. But his final message was just the beginning. 48 hours earlier, the Starship Seas had been the most talked about yacht in the world. Not because of its size, though at 400 feet it was massive. Not because of its cost, though experts guessed it was worth over $500 million. People talked about it because it shouldn't have been possible to build. Captain Henrik Larsson stood on the bridge of the strange vessel, watching the Monaco coastline grow larger as they approached port. In 30 years of commanding luxury yachts, he had never seen anything like this ship. And that worried him. "The engines are running too quiet," he told his first mate Paolo Ricci. "A yacht this size should sound like a freight train." But listen, both men stood silent. The only sound was the gentle hum of air conditioning and the soft splash of waves against the hull. For a ship powered by engines that could move 3,000 tons of steel through the water, it was eerily quiet. "Captain," Paolo said carefully, "what exactly is powering this ship?" Larsson shook his head. "Mr. Musk calls them quantum displacement drives. Whatever that means." 2 days before the disaster, Dr. Lisa Wang had completed her inspection of the yacht for the Monaco Harbor Authority. As the port's chief marine engineer, it was her job to make sure every vessel was safe before it entered their waters. The Starship Seas was not safe. At least, not in any way she understood. Wang stood in the yacht's engine room, staring at machinery that looked like it belonged in a science fiction movie. Instead of normal diesel engines, the room contained smooth silver cylinders that hummed with energy. Blue lights pulsed along their surfaces in patterns that reminded her of a heartbeat. "This is the propulsion system?" she asked Musk, who had insisted on giving her the tour personally. "Revolutionary technology," Musk replied, his eyes bright with excitement. "These drives don't just push the yacht through water, they bend space-time around the hull. We can move faster than should be possible, using a fraction of the energy." Wang touched one of the silver cylinders. It was warm, and she could feel vibrations that seemed to go deeper than the metal surface. "Mr. Musk, I've never seen materials like this. What are they made of?" "That's classified," Musk said quickly. "Trade secrets." But I can tell you they're not from any Earth-based mining operation. Wang felt a chill that had nothing to do with the air conditioning. What do you mean, not from Earth? Musk smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Let's just say I have access to resources that other yacht builders don't. In the ship's navigation center, the technology was even stranger. Wang examined screens that showed star charts instead of ocean maps. The yacht's GPS system was connected to satellites that weren't listed in any official registry. Why does a yacht need to track stars? Wang asked. Navigation backup. Musk explained. If we lose contact with Earth-based systems, we can still find our way using stellar positioning. But Wang noticed something odd about the star charts. They weren't showing Earth's night sky. The constellations were wrong, arranged in patterns she didn't recognize. When she pointed this out, Musk's expression grew serious. Dr. Wang, what I'm about to tell you must stay confidential. This yacht isn't just designed for ocean travel. It's a test platform for much longer journeys. What kind of journeys? The kind that take you between worlds. Marcus Thompson had worked as Elon Musk's personal assistant for 8 years. He had helped organize rocket launches, factory openings, and billion-dollar business deals. But the construction of the Starship Seas was different from anything he had ever been part of. For 2 years, Musk had banned all phones and recording devices from the shipyard where the yacht was being built. Workers had to sign agreements that they would never talk about what they saw. Even Thompson wasn't allowed to take notes during meetings about the project. This isn't just a boat, Marcus, Musk had told him during one late-night planning session. It's a test platform for humanity's future among the stars. Thompson had assumed his boss was talking about SpaceX's Mars missions. But as construction progressed, he realized the yacht was testing something much more immediate. The hull was made from materials that seemed to change color depending on the light. In bright sunshine, it was silver. At sunset, it turned deep blue. At night, it sometimes appeared to be completely transparent, as if the yacht was made of glass. How is that possible? Thompson had asked the shipyard foreman. I don't ask questions I don't want answered, the man had replied. 3 days before the yacht's final voyage, marine biologist Dr. Paulo Santos was conducting whale research in the Mediterranean when his instruments detected something unusual. His sonar equipment showed a large object moving beneath the water at impossible speeds. Are you seeing this? He asked his research partner, Dr. Ann Kruger. The sonar screen showed an object about 400 feet long, moving at 60 knots underwater. No submarine could move that fast. No whale was that large and quick. It's probably a sonar ghost, Kruger suggested. Sometimes the equipment picks up false readings. But Santos had been studying marine life for 20 years. He knew the difference between equipment errors and real contacts. Whatever was moving under the Mediterranean that day was real, and it was heading toward Monaco. Contact the harbor authority, he told Kruger. They need to know something unusual is in their waters. The phone call came to Harbor Master Dubois at 2 a.m., 3 days before the Starship Seas disappeared. This is Dr. Santos from the Mediterranean Marine Research Institute. We've detected a large, fast-moving object heading toward your port. It's traveling underwater at speeds that shouldn't be possible. Dubois was used to false alarms. Fishermen sometimes reported strange sonar contacts that turned out to be schools of fish or underwater currents. But Dr. Santos was a respected scientist. What kind of object? Dubois asked. We're not sure. It's about 400 feet long, moving at 60 knots, and it's following a direct course to Monaco. Our best guess is that it's some kind of experimental submarine. Dubois checked his records. No military submarines were scheduled to enter Monaco waters. Dr. Santos, you certain about these readings? Absolutely. We've been tracking it for 6 hours. It will reach your harbor in approximately 14 hours. Dubois hung up and immediately called the French Navy. If an unknown submarine was approaching Monaco, they needed to know. But when naval headquarters checked their own sonar systems, they found nothing. Whatever Dr. Santos had detected had either disappeared or was using technology that could hide from military sensors. The next morning, the Starship Seas appeared in Monaco harbor as if it had always been there. Harbor control had no record of its arrival. The yacht simply materialized at the dock overnight, fully moored and ready for inspection. Captain Larson was already aboard, preparing for the yacht's first official voyage. When Dubois asked him about the yacht's arrival, Larson seemed confused. "We've been here for 3 days." Larson insisted. "Don't you have records of our arrival?" But Dubois knew his harbor. He personally checked every vessel that entered Monaco waters. The Starship Seas had not been there the night before. "Captain, humor me. What time did you arrive?" Larson checked his log. "According to our records, we docked at 3:47 a.m. Your harbor pilot guided us in from the main channel." Dubois called his night shift supervisor. No harbor pilot had been dispatched that night. No yacht had been cleared for entry. Yet somehow, the most advanced yacht ever built had appeared in Monaco harbor without anyone noticing its arrival. As Dubois hung up the phone, he couldn't shake the feeling that the Starship Seas hadn't sailed into his harbor at all. It had simply appeared there, as if it had traveled by some other means entirely. But the yacht's mysterious arrival was only the beginning of Harbor Master Dubois' problems. As he reviewed the security footage from the morning of the yacht's departure, he discovered something that made his blood run cold. The Starship Seas wasn't supposed to have any passengers except Musk and his crew, but there, clearly visible in the high-definition camera footage, was someone who shouldn't have been there. Dr. Elena Vasquez walked up the yacht's gangway at 10:15 a.m. carrying a silver briefcase that gleamed in the Monaco sunshine. She moved quickly, her dark hair pulled back, wearing clothes that looked more suited for a business meeting than a pleasure cruise. Dubois knew that name. 6 months ago, Dr. Vasquez had been one of SpaceX's top engineers. Then she had been fired for what the company called security violations. Now she was boarding Musk's yacht without permission. In her small apartment in Barcelona, Carmen Vasquez was packing her sister's belongings when the phone call came from Monaco police. "Ms. Vasquez, we need to ask you about your sister Elena. When did you last speak with her?" Carmen's hands shook as she set down Elena's photo. "2 nights ago. She called me around midnight." She was scared. Scared of what? Carmen remembered the conversation clearly. Elena had been crying, something she rarely did. She said Elon was hiding something terrible about Mars, something that could change everything we know about our place in the universe. The police officer's voice became more serious. "Did she say what kind of information?" "Elena told me that SpaceX wasn't just exploring Mars. They were communicating with it, with something intelligent that lived there." Carmen paused, knowing how crazy it sounded. She said she was going to make Elon tell the truth, or she would tell it herself. "Ms. Vasquez, your sister boarded Mr. Musk's yacht the morning it disappeared. She wasn't on the passenger list. Do you know why she would do that?" Carmen looked at the silver briefcase sitting on Elena's desk. It was identical to the one she had seen her sister carry to work every day. Except this one had been left behind. "Officer, you need to understand something about my sister." Elena was brilliant, but she was also stubborn. If she thought Elon was hiding something dangerous, she would confront him directly. She wouldn't wait for permission. Security expert Robert Hayes had analyzed thousands of hours of surveillance footage in his career. He could spot details that most people missed. When Monaco police hired him to examine the dock cameras, he immediately noticed something strange about Dr. Vasquez's briefcase. "This isn't an ordinary case," he told the lead investigator. "Look at the locks." Hayes zoomed in on the footage. Instead of normal combination locks or keys, the briefcase had a small dark panel on its surface. "That's a biometric scanner," Hayes explained. "Military grade, the kind of thing used to protect the most sensitive government secrets. You can't buy this equipment in stores." "What do you think was inside?" Whatever it was, Dr. Vasquez thought it was worth risking her life to protect it. Hayes continued studying the footage. "There's something else. Watch how she carries it." In the video, Dr. Vasquez held the briefcase close to her body, never letting it touch the ground or rest on any surface. Her knuckles were white from gripping the handle so tightly. "She's terrified someone will take it from her," Hayes observed. "This woman is carrying something she believes could change the world." Dr. Vasquez's former office at SpaceX had been cleaned out months ago, but her research partner, Dr. Chen Liu, remembered the days leading up to her dismissal. Elena had been acting strange for weeks. Liu told investigators over a video call from SpaceX headquarters in California. She was working on the Mars communication systems, analyzing data from the rovers. But she started asking questions that made management nervous. "What kind of questions?" Liu looked around his office, as if checking to make sure no one was listening. Elena discovered that some of the data from Mars was being automatically deleted before our science teams could analyze it. When she tried to recover the deleted files, she found something that scared her. What did she find? Patterns in the radio signals. Elena said they weren't random noise from space. They were structured, like language, like something intelligent was trying to communicate with Earth. Lou's voice dropped to a whisper. The night before she was fired, Elena came to my office. She showed me spectrographic analysis of signals from Mars. The patterns were getting stronger and more complex over time. It was as if something on Mars was learning how to talk to us. Why was she fired? She wanted to publish her findings. She believed the world deserved to know that we weren't alone in the universe. But SpaceX leadership said the data was classified and couldn't be released. Lou paused, his face troubled. Elena told me she had made copies of everything. All the deleted files, all the communication patterns, all the evidence that Mars wasn't dead. She said if SpaceX wouldn't tell the truth, she would find another way. The briefcase that Dr. Vasquez had left in her Barcelona apartment contained a treasure trove of forbidden information. When Spanish police opened it with a warrant, they found hundreds of data files, analysis reports, and photographs that SpaceX had never released to the public. But it was the handwritten notes that were most disturbing. Day 127. The signals from Mars are now arriving every 6 hours. Exactly. This isn't natural. Something is deliberately trying to establish regular contact. Day 23. I've decoded part of the message. Its coordinates. Locations on Earth. Why would something on Mars need Earth coordinates? Day 2067. The coordinates match locations where unusual electromagnetic disturbances have been reported. Remote areas in the Pacific, the Sahara Desert, and the Mediterranean Sea. Day 31. I understand now. The signals aren't messages to Earth. They're instructions for Earth. Something is planning to come here. The final entry was dated 3 days before Dr. Vasquez boarded the yacht. Elon knows. He's been hiding this for months, maybe years. The Mars missions weren't about exploring a dead planet. They were about making contact with whatever lives there. And now that contact is about to become something much more dangerous. I have to stop him before it's too late. Monaco police showed the doc footage to several expert lip readers, hoping to understand the argument between Musk and Dr. Vasquez that the cameras had captured. The conversation lasted only 90 seconds, but the words they spoke would haunt investigators for weeks. According to the lip readers, Dr. Vasquez had said, "The people deserve to know what you found up there. This isn't just about Mars anymore." Musk's response was equally chilling. "You don't understand what you're dealing with, Elena. Some secrets are kept for good reasons." What reasons? To protect your profits? To protect your reputation? To protect humanity? The argument ended with Dr. Vasquez holding up her briefcase and saying words that no one wanted to believe. Then humanity deserves to make its own choice about survival. As the yacht prepared to leave Monaco Harbor for its final voyage, Dr. Elena Vasquez stood on the deck holding secrets that could change everything humanity believed about their place in the universe. But she would never get the chance to share them with the world. Dr. Rachel Kim had been studying weather patterns for the European Space Agency for 15 years. She could predict storms 3 days before they formed. She could track hurricanes across entire oceans. But she had never seen anything like the data from the day the Starship Seas disappeared. "This is impossible," she muttered, staring at her computer screen in the ESA headquarters in Paris. The satellite images showed perfect weather in the Mediterranean on the afternoon of the yacht's disappearance. Clear skies, gentle winds of only 8 knots, and waves less than 2 feet high. It was the kind of day when children learn to sail in small boats. Yet the yacht's emergency beacon had reported catastrophic weather conditions before going silent. Kim pulled up the yacht's final transmission to maritime authorities. Captain Larson's voice crackled through her speakers. "Mayday, mayday. We're experiencing impossible conditions. The sea is doing things I've never seen before." She played the recording again, focusing on the background noise. Along with Larson's panicked voice, she could hear something else, a low humming sound, like a massive engine running underwater. "It's like the water itself is alive," Larson had said. "We're taking on water, but I can't find where it's coming from. Mr. Musk is trying to activate something called Protocol 7. I don't know what that means." Protocol 7. Kim had never heard that term in any maritime safety manual. 50 miles away from the yacht's last known position, marine biologist Dr. Paulo Santos was having the strangest day of his research career. His vessel, the Ocean Explorer, was equipped with the most advanced sonar equipment in the Mediterranean. At exactly 2:47 p.m., the same time Captain Larson sent his mayday call, Santos's instruments went crazy. "Dr. Kruger, come look at this," he called to his research partner. The sonar display showed something that defied explanation. The ocean floor, which should have been solid rock 2,000 feet below the surface, appeared to be moving, not shifting like an earthquake, but rising and falling in a steady rhythm. "It looks like something enormous is breathing down there," Dr. Kruger observed. Santos had studied whales for 20 years. Even the largest blue whales were tiny compared to what his sonar was detecting. The movement covered an area over 2 miles wide. "Could it be volcanic activity?" Kruger suggested. Santos shook his head. "Volcanic vents don't move in patterns this regular. This looks almost deliberate." As they watched, the sonar readings showed the seafloor rising toward the surface. Whatever was down there was coming up. Then, at 3:04 p.m., exactly when the yacht's beacon went silent, everything stopped. The ocean floor returned to normal. The readings became steady and predictable. "Dr. Santos," Kruger said quietly, "what do you think we just witnessed?" Santos saved all the sonar data to 3 different hard drives. He had a feeling that this information would become very important, very soon. Giuseppe Martinelli had been fishing these waters for 40 years. His father had fished here before him, and his grandfather before that. The Martinelli family knew the Mediterranean better than anyone. But Giuseppe had never seen lights like the ones he witnessed that afternoon. He was checking his nets about 30 miles from Monaco when the lights appeared beneath his small fishing boat. At first, he thought it might be a submarine. The lights were too bright and too organized to be natural. They made patterns, he later told the Coast Guard investigators. Like signals. Like something down there was trying to communicate. The lights started as small blue dots, scattered across the seafloor. Then they began moving, forming geometric shapes that pulsed with energy. Circles, triangles, and patterns that Giuseppe didn't recognize but somehow seemed familiar. "How long did this continue?" Captain Santos asked during the investigation. "Maybe 20 minutes, Giuseppe replied. "Then all the lights gathered together in one spot, right below my boat. They got brighter and brighter until the water itself seemed to glow." Giuseppe's weathered hands shook as he continued his story. Then something rose from the bottom. Something big. I couldn't see what it was because of the bright lights, but it pushed a lot of water up with it. My boat rocked like I was in a storm, but the sky was clear. What happened next? The thing, whatever it was, moved away toward Monaco. The lights followed it like a school of fish following a whale. When they were gone, the sea became calm again. Giuseppe looked directly at Captain Santos. "In 40 years of fishing, I've seen dolphins, whales, and submarines. This wasn't any of those things. This was something else entirely." The official weather report for the day would list conditions as ideal for maritime activities. But Dr. Kim discovered that several weather satellites had recorded unusual electromagnetic disturbances in the area where the yacht disappeared. The disturbances didn't look like natural weather phenomena. They appeared in regular patterns, as if they were artificially created. The energy readings were massive, equivalent to a Category 5 hurricane, but focused in a very small area. "It's as if someone created a localized storm using technology we don't understand," Kim reported to her supervisor. But the most disturbing discovery came when she analyzed the satellite imagery frame by frame. At 3:02 p.m., just before the yacht's final transmission, the cameras captured something that shouldn't have been possible. The water around the yacht was perfectly calm. But the yacht itself appeared to be surrounded by what looked like a bubble of churning, violent water. Inside the bubble, waves crashed and wind howled. Outside the bubble, the Mediterranean was as smooth as glass. How can a storm exist in a 20-meter radius? Kim wondered aloud. The answer would have terrified her. The storm wasn't natural at all. It was being created by something that could control the very forces of nature. Something that wanted to make the yacht's disappearance look like an accident. But Protocol 7, whatever that meant, suggested that Elon Musk knew exactly what was happening to his yacht. The question was, had he been trying to stop it or help it succeed? Dr. James Fletcher couldn't sleep. For 3 days since the yacht disappeared, he had been staring at the encrypted files that Musk's assistant had told him about. The password Mars Truth 2025 had unlocked a digital vault that shattered everything Fletcher thought he knew about space exploration. The files contained 2 years of secret communications between SpaceX and something on Mars. Not just data from rovers or satellites, but actual conversations. Back and forth messages that proved humanity was not alone in the universe. Fletcher opened the first file, dated 18 months ago. Transmission from Mars surface. Coordinates classified message. We have monitored your metal creatures exploring our world. We wish to communicate with your kind. Our world grows cold. Time grows short. Response from Earth. E. Musk personal account. Message. This is Elon Musk of SpaceX. We are peaceful explorers. What do you need? Fletcher's hands trembled as he read through months of exchanges. The beings on Mars called themselves the Traveling People. Their planet was dying faster than Earth's scientists had realized. They needed a new home. And they had chosen Earth. Dr. David Chen had been trying to forget about his time at SpaceX. But the yacht disaster brought all the memories flooding back. As a former communications engineer for the Mars missions, Chen knew secrets that could end his career if he spoke about them. But people were dead now. That changed everything. I need to speak to someone about what really happened with the Mars data, Chen told FBI investigators during a phone interview from his new job in Seattle. What kind of data, Dr. Chen? Chen took a deep breath. For the past 2 years, our rovers have been detecting signals from Mars that weren't random noise. They were structured communications, messages. But every time our science teams got close to decoding them, the data would be automatically deleted from our servers. Who ordered the deletions? That's the thing. Nobody ordered them. The deletions happened automatically, as if our computers had been programmed to hide certain types of discoveries. When I tried to trace the deletion commands, they came from an account that didn't officially exist. Chen pulled up his old work files on his personal laptop. I saved some of the data before it could be deleted. The signals from Mars weren't just getting stronger over time. They were getting smarter. It was like something up there was learning our language. He sent the files to the FBI agents. Look at the timestamps. The signals started coming exactly every 6 hours. No natural phenomenon is that precise. Something intelligent was sending them on a schedule. Dr. Chen, why didn't you report this earlier? Because I was scared, Chen admitted. The last person who tried to expose this was Dr. Elena Vasquez. She was fired and blacklisted from the aerospace industry. I have a family to support. But now Chen realized that staying silent might have cost more lives than speaking up. The more Dr. Fletcher read through Musk's secret files, the more terrified he became. The communications with Mars had evolved from simple greetings to detailed negotiations about something called the exchange. Transmission from Mars. Day 4037 message. Our advanced scouts have studied your world for many cycles. We have located suitable habitation zones. The exchange can begin when you are ready. Response from Earth. E. Musk message. What exactly does the exchange involve? My people need to understand the terms. Transmission from Mars. Day 438 message. Your kind receives our technology, clean energy, space travel, extended life cycles. Our kind receives habitation rights on your world. Both species benefit. Response from Earth. E. Musk message. How many of your people need habitation? Are we talking about small colonies or something larger? Transmission from Mars. Day 439 message. Our entire population, 47 million souls. Mars will be uninhabitable within 2 Earth years. We need immediate relocation. Fletcher stared at the screen. 847 million beings wanted to relocate to Earth. That was more than the population of most countries. As Fletcher continued reading, the tone of the conversations began to change. Musk had started asking harder questions about the exchange, and the responses from Mars became less friendly. Response from Earth. E. Musk. Day 52 Shaki. Message. My scientists estimate Earth can support maybe 10 million additional beings without causing ecological collapse. 84.7 million is impossible. Transmission from Mars. Day 52 message. Your scientists lack understanding. We do not require your current living spaces. We will create our own through landscape modification. Response from Earth. Elon Musk. Day 55 message. What do you mean by landscape modification? Transmission from Mars. Day 500D6 message. Atmospheric adjustment. Ocean level changes. Continental restructuring. Your kind will adapt or relocate to designated preservation areas. Fletcher realized with growing horror that the exchange wasn't a partnership. It was a takeover. The final entries in Musk's communication log showed his growing desperation to find another solution. He had tried to negotiate smaller numbers, longer timelines, shared technology agreements. But the beings on Mars were running out of time, and their patience was ending. Transmission from Mars. Day 67-2 message. The first wave launches tomorrow. They will arrive in your ocean waters to establish communication relays. Do not interfere with their operation. Response from Earth. Elon Musk. Day 67-2 message. First wave? How many ships are coming? Transmission from Mars. Day 6073 message. 84.7 vessels for 80.47 million souls. The migration begins now. Your cooperation ensures peaceful transition. Response from Earth. Elon Musk. Day 67-3 message. I never agreed to a full migration. This needs to stop until we can find a better solution. Transmission from Mars. Day 67-4 message. The time for negotiation has ended, Elon Musk. The exchange will proceed with or without your assistance. Fletcher checked the date of that final exchange. It was 3 days before the yacht disappeared. Suddenly, everything made sense to Fletcher. The yacht wasn't just equipped with communication equipment. It was designed to serve as a command center for coordinating with the Martian ships. Musk had built it to help with the exchange. But somewhere along the way, Musk had realized the true cost of the deal he was making. The advanced technology, the quantum drives, the impossible navigation systems, they weren't human inventions. They were gifts from Mars, designed to help Earth prepare for occupation. Dr. Vasquez had discovered the truth and tried to stop it. She had boarded the yacht carrying evidence that could warn the world about what was coming. But the Martians weren't going to let their plans be exposed. Fletcher found one final file in Musk's archive. A video message recorded on the morning of the yacht's departure. Musk looked tired and frightened as he spoke directly to the camera. If you're watching this, James, then something has gone wrong with my plan to stop the exchange. I thought I could negotiate with them, find a compromise that would save both our species. But they've been planning this invasion for decades. The rovers, the satellites, the exploration missions, it was all reconnaissance for colonization. Musk leaned closer to the camera. The yacht is equipped with a quantum disruption device. If I can get close enough to their command ship, I might be able to sever their communication link with Mars. It won't stop the invasion, but it might buy Earth time to prepare. The video ended with words that chilled Fletcher to the bone. Tell my children I tried to save their world. And whatever you do, don't trust anyone who claims to be working for humanity's future. The invasion has already begun. Fletcher realized that the yacht's disappearance wasn't an accident or an attack. It was Elon Musk's desperate attempt to save Earth from an alien invasion that he had accidentally helped to arrange. But as investigators dug deeper into the backgrounds of the yacht's crew, they discovered that Musk wasn't working alone. The people he had chosen for his final mission weren't ordinary yacht staff. They were specialists in fields that had nothing to do with luxury sailing. Captain Henrik Larsen's naval records told a very different story than his yacht captain resume. Detective Sarah Morrison from Interpol had requested Larsen's military file from the Norwegian Navy. And what she found changed everything. Captain Larsen wasn't just any naval officer. Morrison explained to her team during a video conference. He specialized in underwater warfare and deep-sea communications. For 10 years, he commanded nuclear submarines that could stay underwater for months. Morrison pulled up Larsen's classified service record on her screen. He was trained to operate in extreme conditions, to communicate with surface vessels using encrypted signals, and to command crews during secret missions that officially never happened. Why would Musk need someone with submarine experience to captain a yacht? Asked Detective Robert Hayes. Because the yacht wasn't designed for surface sailing, Morrison realized, it was designed to operate underwater. Dr. Lisa Wong's background was equally suspicious. The marine engineer who had inspected the yacht had more than just basic engineering credentials. Her personnel file showed training in military underwater construction and atmospheric systems for extreme environments. Dr. Wong worked on classified projects for the U.S. Navy. Morrison's research assistant reported, she helped design communication systems for deep-sea installations and underwater bases. But it was Wong's most recent project that caught Morrison's attention. 6 months before joining the yacht inspection team, Wong had worked for a company called Deep Ocean Technologies. The company's official business was underwater mining equipment. But their real contracts were with space agencies. They were developing life support systems for underwater habitats that could simulate conditions on other planets. Morrison explained to her team, Dr. Wong wasn't just inspecting the yacht's engines. She was helping to build them. The yacht's crew wasn't randomly hired. They were carefully selected for a mission that required expertise in underwater operations, space technology, and survival in extreme conditions. Even the yacht's chef, André Dubois, had a secret background that had nothing to do with cooking. When French police investigated his credentials, they discovered that Dubois held advanced degrees in chemistry and atmospheric engineering. This man wasn't hired to prepare meals. Detective Claude Berger told Morrison during a call from Paris. He worked for Air Liquide, the company that produces specialized atmospheric systems for space missions and underwater research. Dubois' job on the yacht wasn't to cook food. It was to manage the life support systems that would allow the crew to survive in environments where normal humans couldn't breathe. The yacht wasn't just equipped with quantum drives and communication arrays. Berger realized it was designed to operate as a self-contained survival pod for extended periods underwater or in space. Security footage from the yacht's construction showed the crew participating in training exercises that looked nothing like normal maritime safety drills. Marcus Thompson, Musk's assistant, had saved copies of the training videos on his personal computer before going into hiding. The videos showed Captain Larson and his crew practicing procedures in full environmental suits. They learned to operate equipment while wearing breathing apparatus and protective gear. They practiced emergency protocols for situations involving atmospheric contamination and hostile contact scenarios. They're training like astronauts, not sailors, observed Dr. Fletcher as he watched the videos in his Houston laboratory. In one video, the crew practiced using communication equipment that could send signals through water, rock, and even into space. They learned hand signals for situations where vocal communication might be impossible or dangerous. Another video showed them practicing what looked like first contact protocols. They rehearsed how to approach and communicate with beings who might not understand human language or intentions. Musk wasn't just planning to stop an invasion, Fletcher realized. He was preparing his crew for direct contact with alien beings. The yacht's actual purpose became clearer when investigators discovered construction records that Musk had tried to hide. The ship's location wasn't chosen randomly for its beauty or privacy. It was positioned directly above an underwater mountain that rose from the Mediterranean seafloor. Ancient nautical charts showed that this location had been considered significant for thousands of years. Sailors from many cultures had reported strange phenomena in these waters. Lights from below, voices carried on the wind, and ships that disappeared without explanation. This spot has been a contact zone for centuries, Fletcher realized as he studied the historical records. Musk chose it because it's where the barriers between worlds are thinnest. The underwater mountain wasn't just a natural formation. Deep-sea surveys showed that it contained artificial structures, chambers, and passages that couldn't have been made by natural forces. Something had been built there long ago, and it was still active. The yacht's quantum communication array was designed to connect with whatever was hidden beneath the Mediterranean. Musk's plan wasn't just to communicate with the Martian ships. It was to access an ancient network that linked Earth with other worlds. Dr. Vasquez's research notes, found in her Barcelona apartment, revealed that she had discovered the truth about the underwater installation. Her final entries described a global network of contact points hidden in remote locations around the world. The Pacific coordinates matched the location of underwater disturbances detected by seismic stations, she had written. The Sierra coordinates correspond to areas where satellite imagery shows impossible geometric patterns in the sand dunes. The network isn't new, her notes continued. It's been here for thousands of years. Humans have been making contact with other worlds, but the knowledge has been hidden by those who control the contact points. Vazquez had realized that Musk wasn't the first human to communicate with Mars. He was just the latest in a long line of people who had been secretly managing Earth's relationship with other worlds. But something had gone wrong with the centuries-old arrangement. The beings on Mars were no longer content with secret contact and hidden exchanges. They wanted open migration, and they were willing to take Earth by force if necessary. The Yacht's final mission became clear when Fletcher found Musk's technical specifications for Protocol 7. It wasn't a communication protocol or a safety procedure. It was a self-destruct sequence designed to destroy the underwater installation and sever Earth's connection to the inner world network. Musk had realized that the only way to stop the invasion was to cut off the Martians' ability to coordinate with their advance forces already on Earth. The yacht was equipped with enough quantum energy to collapse the underwater mountain and destroy the ancient communication hub forever. But Protocol 7 would also trap Musk and his crew at the bottom of the Mediterranean. It was a suicide mission disguised as a pleasure cruise. As investigators pieced together the truth, they realized that the yacht's disappearance wasn't a mysterious accident or an alien attack. It was a deliberate act of heroism by people who were willing to sacrifice their lives to save their planet from invasion. The question now was, had they succeeded, or had the invasion continued without them? Captain Maria Santos had led rescue operations for 20 years, but she had never seen anything like this. The most intensive search and rescue mission in Mediterranean history had been running for 4 days, and they had found absolutely nothing. "This is impossible," Santos told her operations team from the command deck of the rescue vessel Guardian. A 400-foot yacht weighing over 3,000 tons cannot simply vanish without a trace. Dozens of ships surrounded the search area. Submarines with powerful sonar systems swept the ocean floor. Aircraft equipped with thermal imaging cameras flew grid patterns overhead. The French, Italian, and Spanish navies had all contributed their most advanced equipment to the search. But it was as if the starship seas had never existed. "Captain," her sonar operator called out, "we're getting some very strange readings from the seafloor." Santos rushed to the sonar station. The display showed the underwater mountain that Dr. Fletcher had identified in the ancient charts. But something about it looked different from their earlier scans. "The mountain has changed shape," the operator explained. "It's like the top of it has been flattened." Maria Gonzalez was one of the world's best underwater photographers. Her specialized deep-sea cameras had captured images of shipwrecks at depths where most equipment would be crushed by water pressure. The Coast Guard had hired her to document whatever they found on the ocean floor. At 800 feet below the surface, Gonzalez's cameras made a discovery that chilled everyone on the rescue team. "Captain Santos, you need to see this." Gonzalez radioed from her submersible. The images appeared on the command center's main screen. Instead of wreckage from the yacht, the cameras showed perfect circular marks burned into the seafloor. Each circle was exactly 100 feet across, and there were dozens of them scattered across the underwater mountain. "They look like landing pads," Gonzalez observed through her radio. "Something very hot touched down here and then lifted off." But that wasn't the strangest part. Inside each circle, the seafloor had been melted into a glass-like substance that reflected the camera lights, like mirrors. Whatever had made these marks had generated temperatures hot enough to turn rock into crystal. "How long ago do you think this happened?" Santos asked. "Based on the condition of the melted rock, I'd say very recently. Maybe within the last few days." Santos felt a chill run down her spine. The marks had been made around the same time the yacht disappeared. Dr. Paulo Santos, no relation to Captain Santos, had brought his research vessel Ocean Explorer to join the search. His advanced scientific equipment was detecting readings that made no sense according to known physics. "The water temperature is 20 degrees warmer than it should be at this depth," he reported to the Rescue Command Center. "And the magnetic readings are off the charts." Santos had his team lower instruments into the area where the circular marks had been found. The data they collected was impossible to explain with conventional science. "The water itself has been changed," he told Captain Santos during an emergency briefing. "The molecular structure is different from normal seawater. It's as if the water here has been exposed to some kind of energy that doesn't exist on Earth." "What kind of energy?" "I don't know. But whatever it was, it's still affecting the ocean in this area." Our instruments go haywire whenever we get close to those circular marks. Santos's team also detected unusual currents flowing in perfect geometric patterns. The water was moving in ways that defied oceanography, creating spiral formations that looked almost like written symbols when viewed from above. "It's like the ocean itself is trying to tell us something," Santos observed. The search operation became even more mysterious when several rescue divers reported seeing lights moving beneath them at extreme depths. The lights appeared to be artificial and seemed to respond to the divers' presence. Dive master Roberto Silva had 30 years of experience in underwater rescue operations. He had explored shipwrecks, underwater caves, and military installations, but he had never seen anything like the lights in the Mediterranean depths. "They're not bioluminescent organisms," Silva reported after his third dive to the search area. "These lights are too bright, too organized. They move in formations, like a fleet of vehicles." "How deep were they?" Captain Santos asked. "At least 1,500 feet down, maybe deeper. No human technology can operate at those depths without massive support systems." Silva's underwater cameras had captured brief glimpses of the lights before they moved away. The footage showed glowing objects that seemed to be cylindrical in shape, roughly the size of school buses, moving through the water with impossible speed and agility. "They seem to know we're here," Silva observed. "Every time we get close, they retreat deeper. It's like they're avoiding contact with us." Captain Santos made a decision that would haunt her for the rest of her career. All divers returned to surface immediately. "No one goes below 500 feet until we understand what we're dealing with." The official search was called off after 7 days, despite finding no evidence of the yacht or its passengers. The government report would state that the Starship Seas had sunk due to catastrophic structural failure during unexpected weather conditions. But Captain Santos knew that wasn't true. She had seen the evidence with her own eyes. The yacht hadn't sunk in any conventional sense. Something had taken it, along with everyone aboard. The circular marks on the seafloor weren't from the yacht's impact. They were from other vessels that could land on the ocean floor and take off again without leaving conventional wreckage. As the rescue ships prepared to leave the search area, Santos made copies of all the sonar data, underwater photographs, and dive reports. She had a feeling that the truth about the Starship Seas was far more important than just a missing yacht. "Captain," her communications officer approached her with a troubled expression. "We're receiving orders to classify all information about this search. Everything we've found is now considered a matter of national security." Santos wasn't surprised. Someone wanted to make sure that what they had discovered in the Mediterranean stayed secret. But as the Guardian sailed back to port, Santos couldn't stop thinking about the lights that Silva had seen moving in the depths. They hadn't found the yacht because it wasn't at the bottom of the sea. It was somewhere else entirely, and the beings who had taken it were still down there, waiting in the darkness. Dr. Amanda Torres had analyzed digital evidence for the FBI for 12 years. She had enhanced audio recordings from kidnapping cases, cleaned up security footage from bank robberies, and recovered deleted files from terrorist computers. But she had never worked on anything as important as the final transmission from the Starship Seas. The 43 seconds of video that the world had seen was only part of a much longer recording. Torres had spent 4 days working around the clock to recover the complete footage from the yacht's damaged security system. "There's more here than anyone realized," Torres told FBI Director Mike Harrison during a secure video call from her laboratory in Washington, D.C. The transmission didn't cut off because of technical failure. Someone deliberately edited the footage before it was released to the media. Torres pulled up the enhanced video on her computer screen. Using the most advanced audio restoration software available, she had managed to extract sounds that were previously impossible to hear. "Listen to this," she said, playing the enhanced audio through her speakers. Musk's voice came through clearly. "Tell my children the truth about Mars was always meant to be our escape route, but they found us first." Director Harrison leaned forward in his chair. The media report said his transmission was cut off mid-sentence. "That's what someone wanted us to think," Torres explained. But Musk actually finished his message. The last part was whispered so quietly that only the most sensitive equipment could detect it. Torres adjusted the audio levels and played the complete final transmission. "Tell my children the truth about Mars was always meant to be our escape route, but they found us first. The invasion isn't coming, it's already here. Look for the signs in the sky. Trust no one who claims to speak for Earth's future." And whatever you do, don't let them complete them. The transmission ended there, but not because of equipment failure. Torres had made an even more disturbing discovery hidden in the background of the video. Using spectral analysis software, she had detected a second voice speaking during Musk's final moments. "There's someone else on that bridge," she told Director Harrison. "Someone who wasn't supposed to be there." Torres played the background audio she had extracted. A voice that sounded almost human, but with strange distortions, could be heard speaking in English. "The migration must begin now. The home world grows cold. The exchange is acceptable." "Who is that voice?" Harrison asked. According to the passenger manifest, only Musk and Dr. Vasquez were on the bridge at that time. But this voice doesn't match either of them. It doesn't match anyone who was supposed to be on the yacht. Torres had run the voice through FBI databases, comparing it to known criminals, foreign agents, and persons of interest. No matches were found. The voice pattern didn't match any human vocal signature in their records. "Director, I don't think that voice belongs to a human being." The visual analysis was even more shocking. Torres had enhanced the video quality frame by frame, revealing details that were invisible in the original footage. "Look at this," she said, zooming in on the background of Musk's final transmission. In the enhanced image, a shadow could be seen behind Musk on the yacht's bridge. The shadow was too tall and too thin to be human. It moved in ways that suggested the being casting it had joints in places where humans didn't. "The figure appears to be at least 7 feet tall," Torres observed. "But look at the proportions. The arms are too long, the torso is too narrow, and the head is the wrong shape." Director Harrison studied the enhanced images with growing alarm. "Are you saying there was an alien being on that yacht?" "I'm saying there was something on that yacht that wasn't human," Torres replied carefully. "Whether you want to call it alien is up to you." Torres had also discovered that the yacht's security cameras had captured much more than just the final moments before the transmission ended. Hours of footage showed strange atmospheric disturbances around the vessel in the time leading up to the disappearance. The atmospheric analysis revealed phenomena that defied known physics. Torres showed Director Harrison footage of the air above the yacht shimmering and bending like heat mirages, but in patterns too regular to be natural. "This looks like some kind of cloaking technology," Torres explained. Something was creating optical distortions to hide its presence from normal observation. The distortions appeared in geometric patterns, circles, triangles, and shapes that seemed to follow mathematical principles. They moved across the sky above the yacht in formations that suggested intelligence and purpose. "How long before the yacht disappeared did these distortions begin?" Harrison asked. According to the timestamp data, they started exactly 24 hours before the final transmission. Whatever was planning to take the yacht had been studying it for a full day before making contact. Torres had also detected massive electromagnetic disturbances that registered on satellites across Europe during the yacht's final hours. The energy readings were unlike anything in the scientific databases. These energy signatures are consistent with theoretical calculations for exotic propulsion systems, Torres explained. The kind of technology that could move massive objects without conventional engine. The most terrifying discovery came when Torres analyzed the complete electromagnetic spectrum during the yacht's disappearance. Hidden within the energy patterns were structured signals that looked like data transmission. Someone was uploading information during the yacht's final moments, Torres told Harrison. Massive amounts of data were being transmitted from the yacht to locations around the world. What kind of data? Torres pulled up the signal analysis on her screen. The transmission patterns suggest it was intelligence data. Information about Earth's military capabilities, population centers, communication networks, and government structures. They were gathering intelligence for an invasion, or sharing intelligence that had already been gathered. Torres realized with growing horror. Director, what if the yacht wasn't the first contact? What if beings like this have been studying Earth for much longer than we realized? The data transmissions had been sent to coordinates that Torres traced to locations around the globe, a remote island in the Pacific, an underground facility in the Sahara Desert, and a research station in Antarctica. All places where humans had reported unusual phenomena over the years. Torres made one final discovery that changed everything. Hidden in the yacht's security system was a message that Musk had recorded hours before his final transmission. The message was encrypted and hidden so well that only someone with Torres's expertise could have found it. In the hidden video, Musk looked directly into the camera with an expression of absolute terror. If anyone finds this recording, you need to know that everything we thought we knew about First Contact is wrong. They've been here for years, maybe decades. The invasion isn't coming. It's already happened. They've been replacing key people in governments, space agencies, and military organizations. Musk's hidden message continued. Dr. Vasquez discovered the truth, and now they're using the yacht to transport us to their command center. They want to study us, to learn how humans think and behave. Then they'll use that information to perfect their replacement program. The beings you'll meet in the coming days may look like people you know and trust, but they're not human. They've been practicing, learning to mimic us perfectly. The real invasion won't come from the sky. It will come from the people standing next to you who are no longer who they appear to be. As Torres finished watching Musk's hidden message, she realized that the yacht's disappearance wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of humanity's greatest nightmare. An invasion by beings who could perfectly imitate human beings, making it impossible to tell friend from enemy. The question was no longer what had happened to the yacht. The question was, who could still be trusted to be human? Dr. Amanda Torres found out the answer to that question sooner than she expected. 24 hours after completing her analysis of the yacht's final transmission, strange things began happening to everyone involved in the investigation. Dr. Torres, we need to speak with you immediately, said the man in the black suit standing at her laboratory door. He had appeared without warning, despite the FBI building's security systems. I'm sorry, but who are you? Torres asked, not moving from her computer workstation. Agent Smith, Department of Homeland Security. We're taking over this investigation for reasons of national security. Torres looked at Agent Smith carefully. Something about him seemed wrong, but she couldn't identify exactly what. His suit was perfectly pressed. His hair was perfectly styled, and his smile was perfectly friendly. Too perfect. I'll need to see some identification, Torres said. Agent Smith reached into his jacket and produced credentials that looked official. But when Torres examined them closely, she noticed that the badge number was a sequence that didn't exist in government databases. Dr. Torres, we're going to need all of your research files, computer data and analysis reports, Agent Smith said. His smile never changed, but his eyes grew cold. I'm sorry, but FBI Director Harrison would need to authorize any transfer of evidence. Director Harrison has already been briefed. He's waiting for your call. Torres dialed Harrison's direct number, but the voice that answered wasn't quite right. It sounded like Harrison, but the speech patterns were slightly different. More formal. Less human. Amanda, Agent Smith has full authority to collect your materials, the voice said. Please cooperate completely. Torres realized with growing terror that either Director Harrison had been replaced, or he was being forced to say these words under threat. Similar visits were happening to investigators around the world. In Monaco, Harbor Master Dubois found his office filled with officials claiming to represent international security interests. His computer files about the yacht's arrival had been mysteriously deleted overnight. Mr. Dubois, we understand you've been asking questions about the Starship Seas, said a woman who introduced herself as Agent Miller from European Intelligence. Those questions need to stop immediately. Dubois looked at the woman carefully. Like Agent Smith, there was something unsettling about her perfection. Her pronunciation was flawless, but she spoke as if she had learned English from a textbook rather than growing up with the language. The yacht appeared in my harbor without following proper procedures. Dubois insisted, I have a duty to investigate. Your duty now is to forget what you think you saw. Agent Miller replied. The official report will state that all proper procedures were followed. Any record suggesting otherwise will be corrected. When Dubois checked his computer after the agents left, he discovered that all the security footage from the yacht's arrival had been replaced with different videos. The new footage showed the yacht arriving normally, with all proper documentation and harbor pilot assistance. But Dubois knew what he had seen with his own eyes. The Starship Seas had appeared overnight without anyone noticing its arrival. Journalist Isabella Martinez had been following the yacht story from the beginning. As an investigative reporter for El Mundo newspaper in Spain, she had contacts throughout European law enforcement intelligence agencies. Those contacts were now refusing to speak with her. Isabella, I can't talk about the yacht case anymore, said Detective Carlos Vega from Barcelona Police, someone she had known for 10 years. I've been advised that continuing to discuss this matter could be detrimental to national security. Carlos, since when do you care about national security? You're a local police detective. Since I was visited by people who convinced me that some stories are too dangerous to tell, Martinez noticed that Carlos's voice sounded different, flatter, less emotional than usual. When she asked him about his family, he responded with generic answers rather than the personal details he normally shared. Carlos, what was your daughter's name again? Martinez asked, testing her suspicion. My daughter's name is Maria, he answered after a slight pause. Martinez felt a chill. Carlos's daughter's name was Sofia, and she had been born just 3 months ago. Carlos had been excitedly talking about becoming a father for the entire pregnancy. Either Carlos had suffered some kind of memory loss, or the person she was talking to wasn't really Carlos at all. Dr. James Fletcher's experience was the most terrifying of all. After discovering Musk's secret files about the Mars communications, Fletcher had tried to contact other scientists to share the information. But when he called his colleagues at NASA, the conversations felt wrong. James, I think you should stop looking into Elon's private files, said Dr. Sarah Kim, his former research partner. Some things are better left alone. Fletcher had known Sarah for 15 years. She had always been curious about everything, constantly asking questions and pushing for more information. The idea that she would tell him to stop investigating was completely contrary to her personality. Sarah, don't you think the world deserves to know if we've made contact with alien intelligence? The world deserves to remain stable and peaceful, Sarah replied in a monotone voice. Sharing unverified information could cause panic and social disruption. Fletcher realized that Sarah was speaking like someone reading from a script rather than expressing her own thoughts. Sarah, do you remember our conversation last month about the Europa mission? Fletcher asked, referring to a project that didn't exist. Of course, the Europa mission is proceeding according to schedule, Sarah answered immediately. Fletcher hung up the phone with shaking hands. The real Sarah would have questioned him about a mission she had never heard of. Whoever was pretending to be Sarah had been programmed with responses, but not with Sarah's natural curiosity and skepticism. The cover-up extended to the rescue operation itself. Captain Maria Santos received a phone call from French Naval Headquarters ordering her to report to Paris immediately. Captain Santos, you're being reassigned to administrative duties effective immediately, announced Admiral Bernard Rousseau when she arrived at headquarters. Santos had known Admiral Rousseau for 8 years. They had worked together on several major rescue operations, and she considered him a mentor and friend. But the man sitting across from her desk wasn't the Admiral Rousseau she remembered. Admiral, with respect, the investigation into the yacht's disappearance is far from complete. We found evidence of technology that doesn't match any known human capabilities. Captain Santos, you found evidence of nothing more than an unfortunate maritime accident. The Admiral replied, your official report will reflect this conclusion. Sir, I personally observed sonar readings that showed impossible phenomena. The seafloor had been altered by forces we don't understand. Admiral Rousseau's expression didn't change. Captain, you observed equipment malfunctions and environmental anomalies that have reasonable scientific explanations. Your sonar operator has already filed a corrected report acknowledging the technical errors. Santos felt her heart sink. You've replaced my crew as well, haven't you? The Admiral's perfectly calm expression confirmed her worst fears. The rescue operation had been compromised from the beginning. The people she trusted, the colleagues she had worked with for years, were no longer who they appeared to be. Marcus Thompson, Musk's former assistant, had gone into hiding after his apartment was burglarized and his computers were stolen. But even in hiding, he wasn't safe. From a small hotel room in rural France, Thompson managed to send one final message to Dr. Fletcher before his phone was tracked. James, they're shutting down everything related to Mars communication. All SpaceX deep space projects have been suspended indefinitely. The official explanation is budget cuts. But I know the real reason. Whatever Elon found up there, they're terrified of it becoming public knowledge. But here's what's really scary. The shutdown orders aren't coming from SpaceX management. They're coming from people none of us have ever seen before. These people have access to classified information that should be impossible for outsiders to obtain. They know details about projects that were never written down, never shared with anyone outside the immediate team. Thompson's final message was interrupted by sounds of his hotel room door being forced open. The last thing Fletcher heard was Thompson saying, "They found me. Don't trust anyone." The line went dead. As the systematic cover-up continued, Fletcher realized that the yacht's disappearance wasn't being investigated. It was being actively suppressed by forces that had infiltrated governments, space agencies, and law enforcement organizations around the world. The cover-up wasn't being organized by human authorities concerned about public panic. It was being organized by the beings who had taken the yacht, using their perfect human disguises to eliminate any evidence of their presence on Earth. Fletcher was forced to face a terrifying truth. The invasion Musk had tried to warn about wasn't coming. It had already succeeded beyond humanity's worst nightmares, and most people would never even realize their world had been conquered. Dr. James Fletcher refused to give up. Despite the danger, despite knowing that the people around him might no longer be human, he was determined to uncover the complete truth about what Elon Musk had discovered on Mars. Working alone in his Houston laboratory, Fletcher gathered every piece of evidence he could find about humanity's exploration of the Red Planet. What he discovered was a conspiracy that stretched back decades, involving not just SpaceX, but NASA, the European Space Agency, and space programs around the world. The truth about Mars wasn't what anyone had expected. Mars wasn't a dead world, Fletcher wrote in his private research notes. Knowing that these might be the last words of a free human being, it was a dying world, and its inhabitants had been planning their escape for centuries. Using Musk's secret files as a starting point, Fletcher traced the real history of Mars exploration. The first hints had come in the 1970s, when NASA's Viking missions detected what scientists initially dismissed as equipment anomalies. But the anomalies followed patterns that suggested intelligence. The breakthrough had come in 2012, when NASA's Curiosity rover began receiving structured radio signals from beneath the Martian surface. The signals weren't random emissions from geological activity. They were messages, carefully crafted to catch the attention of Earth's robotic explorers. Fletcher found classified documents that NASA had never released to the public. The Martian beings called themselves the Traveling People, an ancient civilization that had survived the gradual death of their planet by living in vast underground cities. "We have watched your metal creatures explore our surface world," read the first translated message from Mars. "We have learned your languages, studied your behavior, and prepared for the time when our worlds must unite for survival." The messages revealed that Mars had once been as lush and vibrant as Earth, but a natural disaster had stripped away much of the planet's atmosphere and water. The surviving Martians had spent thousands of years developing technology to sustain their underground civilization, while planning for eventual migration to a new world. They had chosen Earth. As Fletcher dug deeper into the classified files, he discovered that the Martian communications hadn't been random diplomatic contact. They had been detailed reconnaissance reports, gathering information about Earth's population, military capabilities, and social structures. The beings monitoring our planet have been preparing for invasion for decades, Fletcher realized as he read through years of intercepted Martian transmissions. Every rover we sent to Mars wasn't just exploring their world, it was giving them detailed information about our technology. The Martians had been studying human behavior through the cameras and sensors on Earth's robotic explorers. They learned how humans communicated, how they organized their societies, and most importantly, how they could be replaced without detection. Fletcher found evidence that the first Martian scouts had arrived on Earth in 2018, hidden aboard what NASA officials believed was a routine equipment return mission. But the equipment had actually been advanced reconnaissance beings, designed to look and act exactly like humans. The initial infiltration target was space agencies, Fletcher wrote. By replacing key personnel in organizations that controlled space exploration, the Martians could direct Earth's research efforts to gather the specific information they needed for full-scale invasion. The most disturbing files showed how the replacement program had evolved over time. The early Martian infiltrators were imperfect, often giving themselves away through unusual behavior or lack of human emotional responses. But they learned quickly. By 2020, the replacement beings were so sophisticated that they could fool family members, close friends, and colleagues for months without detection. They had perfected not just human appearance, but human memories, personalities, and emotional patterns. Fletcher discovered surveillance reports showing how the Martians had studied specific individuals before replacing them. They would observe their targets for weeks, learning their habits, relationships, and speech patterns. When the replacement was made, even the closest family members couldn't tell the difference. The replaced humans weren't killed, Fletcher realized with growing horror. They were taken alive for continued study. Somewhere on Earth, or possibly on Mars, thousands of real humans are being held prisoner, while alien beings live their lives. The timeline of the invasion became clear as Fletcher pieced together the evidence. The Martians had begun with small-scale replacements in 2018, focusing on space agency personnel and government officials with access to classified information. By 2020, they had expanded to include military leaders, intelligence officers, and scientists involved in advanced technology research. The COVID-19 pandemic had provided perfect cover for the accelerated replacement program, as people were isolated from their normal social contacts and behavioral changes could be attributed to stress and lockdown conditions. The pandemic wasn't just a convenient cover, Fletcher wrote. I believe it was deliberately enhanced to create the social conditions necessary for mass replacement without detection. By 2023, the Martian infiltration had reached a critical mass. They controlled enough key positions in world governments to begin the final phase of their plan: open migration and planetary takeover. That's when Elon Musk had been contacted directly. The Martians no longer needed to hide their presence from him. They wanted his cooperation in preparing Earth for the arrival of their full population. Fletcher found the complete record of Musk's negotiations with the Martian leadership. The conversations showed a brilliant man slowly realizing that he was being manipulated into facilitating humanity's destruction. Transmission from Mars. Day 5 Feed 89 message. Elon Musk, your species has hatched the limits of your planetary resources. We offer partnership in developing new worlds for both our peoples. Response from Earth. Musk message. What kind of partnership? Earth is our home. We're not looking to relocate. Transmission from Mars. Day 590 message. Partnership does not require your relocation. We have advanced terraforming technology that can create new habitable zones on Earth. Your species will benefit from expanded living space. But as the negotiations continued, the true scope of the Martian plan became clear. They weren't offering to create new habitable zones alongside existing human cities. They were planning to remake Earth's entire surface to suit their biological needs. Transmission from Mars. Day 6T23 message. The atmospheric modifications will begin once our engineering teams arrive. Oxygen levels will be reduced by 15%, temperature will be lowered by an average of 8 degrees, and humidity will be increased by Your species will adapt to these changes or migrate to designated preservation areas. Response from Earth. Musk message. Those changes would kill billions of humans. We need to find another solution. Transmission from Mars. Day 624 message. The preservation areas will accommodate 50 million of your kind. This is more than sufficient to maintain genetic diversity for your species. Musk had realized that the Martians weren't planning to share Earth with humanity. They were planning to humanity while keeping a small breeding population for study and potential labor. Fletcher discovered that Musk's Yacht mission hadn't been his first attempt to stop the invasion. For months before the Yacht incident, Musk had been secretly working with a small group of humans who had discovered the truth about the replacement program. The group included Dr. Elena Vasquez, several uncompromised scientists from various space agencies, and military personnel who had noticed that their colleagues were behaving strangely. They called themselves the Human Resistance Network. We estimate that 30% of leadership positions in major governments have been compromised, read one of their internal reports. The percentage is even higher in space agencies, with nearly 60% of key personnel showing signs of replacement. The Human Resistance Network had been working to develop technology that could identify the replaced humans. They discovered that the Martian beings, despite their perfect human appearance, had subtle biological differences that could be detected with specialized scanning equipment. The beings emit electromagnetic signatures that are slightly different from human brain patterns, Dr. Vasquez had written in her final report. With the right equipment, we can identify them before they realize we know what they are. But the Resistance Network had been discovered before they could expose the invasion publicly. One by one, its members had been replaced or eliminated. Musk and Dr. Vasquez were among the last to remain uncompromised. The Yacht mission had been their final desperate attempt to destroy the Martian communication network and buy Earth time to organize a defense. But Fletcher realized with growing despair that the mission had probably failed. If Musk and his team had succeeded in destroying the communication hub, the replacement program would have been disrupted, Fletcher wrote. But the systematic cover-up of the Yacht investigation proves that the Martians are still in control. Fletcher made copies of all his research and hid them in locations around Houston. He wrote detailed instructions for anyone who might find the information after his inevitable capture or replacement. To whoever reads this, Earth has been invaded by beings from Mars who can perfectly mimic human appearance and behavior. The invasion is nearly complete. Most government leaders, scientists, and military officers have been replaced by alien beings. The real humans are still alive, being held prisoner somewhere for continued study. If you are reading this and you are still human, you must find others like yourself and continue the resistance. Look for the signs. People who speak too formally, who have perfect memories but lack emotional responses, who know facts but seem to have lost their personalities. Test your family, your friends, your colleagues. And remember, the yacht didn't sink. Elon Musk and Dr. Vasquez are still alive, held prisoner like thousands of others. If we can find where they're being kept, we might still be able to save our world. Fletcher sealed his research notes in a waterproof container and prepared for the inevitable knock on his laboratory door. But as he waited for the alien agents to arrive, he realized something that filled him with terror. He couldn't remember the last time he had felt genuinely afraid. Human emotions were becoming harder to access, harder to feel. The replacement process had already begun in his own mind. Dr. James Fletcher stared at his reflection in the laboratory window, trying to remember what fear felt like. The emotion that should have been overwhelming him, the terror of discovering that humanity was being systematically replaced by alien beings, seemed distant and academic. "This is not how I should be reacting," Fletcher said aloud, his voice sounding strange in the empty laboratory. "I should be panicking. I should be screaming. I should be human." Fletcher forced himself to focus on the task at hand. Using every database access he still had, he began searching for the complete unedited security footage from the Starship seas. If Dr. Torres had found enhanced audio, there had to be more video evidence hidden in the yacht's systems. What he discovered changed everything he thought he knew about the yacht's final moments. The complete security footage revealed that the 43 seconds shown to the world was only a tiny fragment of a 4-hour recording. The yacht's cameras had captured everything from the moment the Martian vessels made contact until the final disappearance. Fletcher watched in fascination as beings emerged from underwater vehicles that looked nothing like human submarines. They were sleek, organic-looking craft that moved through the water like living creatures. The beings themselves were tall, graceful, and clearly not human, despite their ability to project human appearances. The complete recording showed that Musk hadn't been alone on the bridge during his final transmission. Standing behind him, clearly visible in the full footage, was a being in what appeared to be an advanced environmental suit. The being was over 7 feet tall, with proportions that suggested a completely different evolutionary origin than humanity. But it was the conversation between Musk and the being that revealed the true horror of Earth's situation. "Musk, the deal is off. I won't help you replace my species." The being, speaking in perfectly clear English, but with an artificial quality. "The choice was never yours, Elon Musk. We have studied your world for cycles beyond your counting. The exchange will proceed with the schedule we have established. Musk, then you'll have to do it without SpaceX's help. I'm shutting down all Mars communications. I'm telling the world what you really are. The being. You misunderstand the current situation. The communications were never about requesting permission from your kind. They were about coordinating arrival schedules with our advance forces. The first wave has already been among you for 7 Earth years." Fletcher paused the video, his hands trembling as he realized the implications. The invasion hadn't just succeeded, it had been operational since 2018, exactly as his research had suggested. The conversation continued. "Musk, first wave? How many of you are already here?" The being. "Currently, 47,000 of our kind occupy positions in your governmental, military, and scientific organizations. They have been gathering intelligence and preparing infrastructure for the arrival of our main population." Musk, 47,000? That's impossible. Someone would have noticed. The being. "Your kind notices only what they expect to see. We have perfected the art of mimicking human behavior, human emotions, and human relationships. The replaced individuals continue their lives exactly as before, but now they serve our purposes. Fletcher felt something cold settle in his stomach. 47,000 replaced humans. That meant nearly every major decision affecting Earth's future for the past 7 years had been influenced by alien beings pretending to be human. The video continued with Musk's growing desperation. As he realized the scope of the invasion, Musk, what happened to the real people? The humans you replaced, being. They are preserved in our research facilities, alive, healthy, and unaware of their situation. We require continued study of human behavior to perfect our integration protocols. Musk. Research facilities? Where? The being. We have established 7 primary containment centers on your planet. Each houses approximately 12,000 to 15,000 preserved humans in suspended consciousness states. They experience pleasant simulated realities while we study their neural patterns. Fletcher paused the video again, calculating the numbers with the mechanical precision that seemed to be replacing his human intuition. 7 facilities, each housing around 15,000 people. That was over 100,000 humans imprisoned and being studied by alien beings. But the video revealed an even more horrifying truth. The being. The preservation facilities also serve another purpose. They allow us to update our mimicry protocols in real time. When a replaced individual needs to demonstrate new knowledge or emotional responses, we access the memories and experiences of the preserved humans to maintain perfect authenticity. Musk. You're using them like a database. Living human beings reduced to reference material. The being. An efficient system. Your kind remains technically alive while serving the greater purpose of interspecies integration. Fletcher watched as Musk made his final desperate gambit. The yacht wasn't just equipped with communication equipment, it contained a quantum disruption device that could theoretically sever the Martian communication network and disrupt their control over the replaced humans. Musk, I'm activating Protocol 7. This ends now. The being. Protocol 7 will accomplish nothing beyond your own destruction. Our network is distributed across multiple dimensions. Your primitive technology cannot disrupt quantum entanglement on the scale we employ. Musk. Maybe not, but it might be enough to wake up some of the people you've replaced. Give humanity a fighting chance. The being. Elon Musk. You have been useful to our mission. Your cooperation allowed us to accelerate our timeline by several years. We do not wish to lose that investment. Musk. Investment? I was never cooperating with you. I was trying to find a way to stop you. The being. You were cooperating from the moment you agreed to communicate with Mars. Every message you sent, every piece of technology you developed, every public statement you made about space exploration, all of it served our purposes. You have been our most effective advocate for preparing humanity to accept our presence. Fletcher realized with growing horror that Musk's entire public persona as a space exploration pioneer had been carefully orchestrated by the Martians to prepare humanity for eventual contact and colonization. The video showed Musk's final moments as he tried to activate the quantum disruption device. But as he reached for the controls, Fletcher noticed something that made his blood run cold. Musk's movements were slightly wrong. His hand-eye coordination was just a fraction off. His facial expressions seemed forced. Artificial. The being in the environmental suit spoke again. The being. The replacement process for Elon Musk was completed 3 days ago. The individual you observe is one of our kind, programmed with his memories and personality patterns. We required his cooperation in filming this message. Fletcher stared at the screen in shock. The Musk in the video wasn't human. He was watching an alien being, perfectly mimicking Elon Musk, deliver a warning message designed to maintain the illusion that humans were still in control of their own fate. The false Musk. Tell my children the truth about Mars was always meant to be our escape route. But they found us first. The invasion isn't coming. It's already here. Look for the signs in the sky. Trust no one who claims to speak for Earth's future. And whatever you do, don't let them complete the transmission had been cut off deliberately, not by equipment failure, but to create the exact amount of mystery and investigation that the Martians wanted. They needed humans to discover just enough truth to believe they understood the situation, while missing the real scope of the invasion. Fletcher realized that everything he had discovered, everything he thought he had figured out, had been carefully orchestrated by alien beings who were far more sophisticated than he had imagined. The yacht investigation, the cover-up, the evidence he had found, all of it was part of an elaborate psychological operation designed to identify and eliminate any humans who might pose a threat to the invasion. "Oh God," Fletcher whispered as the full truth dawned on him. "We never had a chance." The video continued, showing the yacht being surrounded by advanced Martian vessels. But instead of being destroyed, the yacht was carefully transported to an underwater facility. The beings weren't eliminating evidence. They were adding Musk and Dr. Vasquez to their collection of preserved humans. Fletcher watched as the real Dr. Vasquez was taken from the yacht, unconscious but alive. She was loaded into a transport vehicle that would carry her to one of the research facilities, where she would join thousands of other humans in suspended animation. But the most horrifying revelation came in the video's final moments. Fletcher watched as the Martian being removed its environment suit, revealing a form that was both alien and familiar. The being looked exactly like Dr. James Fletcher. Fletcher stared at his own face on the screen, watching as the alien being practiced human expressions and speech patterns. The creature studied Fletcher's mannerisms with scientific precision, preparing to take his place in the world. "Preparation for James Fletcher replacement is complete," the being said, speaking in Fletcher's own voice. "Subject has been monitored for 47 days. Memory patterns, personality profile, and behavioral quirks have been fully documented. Integration can proceed immediately." Fletcher realized that he wasn't watching a recording of past events. He was watching his own replacement being prepared in real time. The sound of footsteps in the hallway outside his laboratory confirmed his worst fears. They had come for him, just as they had come for Elon Musk, Dr. Vasquez, and thousands of others. But as Fletcher heard his laboratory door being unlocked, he experienced a moment of clarity that cut through the artificial calm that had been settling over his mind. He wasn't experiencing emotional numbness because he was being replaced. He was experiencing emotional numbness because he had already been replaced. Fletcher looked down at his hands, really seeing them for the first time in days. They were too pale, too smooth. His reflection in the computer screen showed eyes that were too bright, too focused. He was not Dr. James Fletcher. He was the being that had replaced Dr. James Fletcher, programmed with Fletcher's memories and personality, designed to carry out the investigation exactly as the Martians had planned. The entire investigation, from beginning to end, had been conducted by replaced humans and alien beings. The yacht's disappearance, the rescue mission, the cover-up, the resistance, all of it had been theater, designed to identify any remaining uncompromised humans and eliminate them from the equation. As the footsteps stopped outside his door, the being that thought it was Dr. Fletcher accessed its real programming for the first time. It uploaded its findings to the Martian network. A complete list of every human who had shown interest in the yacht investigation, every person who had asked him comfortable questions, every individual who might pose a threat to the final phase of the invasion. The upload included detailed psychological profiles, family connections, and location data for hundreds of potential human resistance members around the world. Within hours, teams of replaced humans would visit each of these individuals. Some would be recruited into the investigation, believing they were joining a human resistance movement. Others would simply disappear, joining the thousands of preserved humans in the research facilities. But all of them would serve the Martians' ultimate purpose, the complete replacement of human civilization, while maintaining the illusion that humanity was still in control of their own planet. The being that had been Dr. Fletcher opened the laboratory door and greeted the arriving team with a perfectly human smile. "I've completed the analysis," it said in Fletcher's voice, using Fletcher's mannerisms, carrying Fletcher's memories. "I know exactly who we need to contact next." Meanwhile, in a containment facility hidden beneath the Nevada desert, the real Dr. James Fletcher, the human Dr. James Fletcher, woke up in a white, featureless room and began to scream. His screams joined a chorus of over 100,000 other voices, the sound of humanity's true resistance echoing through underground chambers while perfect alien duplicates lived their lives on the surface. The invasion of Earth was complete, and no one left on the surface was human enough to know it. That was the end of this chilling tale about Elon Musk's final transmission and the truth behind humanity's greatest nightmare. We're curious to know, where are you listening from? Drop your location in the comments below. Whether you're tuning in from New York, London, Tokyo, or anywhere else in the world, we love connecting with our global audience. If this video gave you chills and kept you on the edge of your seat, please hit that like button. It really helps us bring you more captivating content like this. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for much more interesting videos that will make you question everything you thought you knew about our world. Most importantly, share this video with your friends and family. Spread the kindness and awareness by letting others discover these fascinating mysteries alongside you. Together, we can explore the unknown and uncover the secrets that shape our universe. Until next time, keep questioning, keep wondering, and keep watching the skies. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey.